Welcome to a journey through time. Tonight, we will walk slowly along the silent stones of Rome. These are not stories of battles or emperors, but of patience, of stone upon stone, of roads that carried the world for centuries. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video before we begin. Imagine one of the silent mornings of the Roman Empire. The sun has not yet risen, a thin layer of mist rests on the soil. In the distance, the faint sound of roosters can be heard, but the world still sleeps. Only a few workers walk slowly, carrying shovels, picks, and baskets filled with stones. They move quietly in the cool air of dawn. They are here to begin the construction of a Roman road. This story will not be about heroes. It will be about stones. There will be no bloody battles, no noisy victories, only the patient and quiet placing of stone upon stone. The story of earth combined with time, with patience, with silence. Rome was an empire, but what truly held that empire together? Not only armies, not only the commands of emperors. The true secret of Rome was hidden in the roads, made of stone. Roads that stretched for thousands of miles, binding cities together, bringing people closer. Roads that cut through mountains, crossed valleys on bridges, and defied rivers. And all of this was the result of patience, of layer upon layer of careful work. The first step was always the same, choosing the ground. A road must be straight. Roman engineers walked across the land, finding the shortest and most even path. Obstacles never stopped them. If a mountain stood in the way, they carved a tunnel. If a valley spread wide, they built a bridge. For Rome, the road was never winding, always direct, always certain. Now close your eyes. Picture a wide piece of land before you. Grass sways gently, birds sing softly. Roman engineers stand here, studying the ground. With ropes, poles, and tools, they draw a line across the earth. That line will become the heart of a road that will endure for centuries. The workers wait silently for instructions. Then, the first pick strikes the ground. The sound echoes. The road has begun. The soil is cleared. Trees are cut, roots pulled out, shrubs are burned away. Slowly, the bare earth is revealed. A deep trench is dug. This trench will be the foundation. The workers dig, slowly and steadily. Every shovelful of earth is lifted, carried aside, set down. Hours pass, days pass, weeks pass. But no one rushes. A Roman road cannot be rushed. Each stone must find its place with patience. At the very bottom of the trench, large stones are placed. This layer is called statumen. Heavy stones laid side by side, gaps filled with smaller stones. Each one hammered down, struck with care. These stones will bear the weight of centuries. Above them, smaller stones are spread. This layer is called rudus. Thick, strong, filling every space. The workers hammer them firmly into place. Every strike settles the ground more firmly. It is as though the road itself is beginning to breathe. On top of this, a mixture of gravel and mortar is poured. This is the nucleus. Crushed stones mixed with lime, pressed tight, flat and smooth. A solid heart for the road, preparing it for the final surface. At last, broad paving stones are placed on top. This is the summum dorsum, flat, wide, and smooth. Each block carefully chosen, fitted against its neighbors, hammered into place until no gaps remain. This is the famous surface of the Roman road, hard, even, enduring. As evening comes, the workers rest. Their hands are calloused, their brows damp with sweat. But before them lies the beginning of a road, not yet long, but already straight, strong, and shining in the fading light. The sun sets, and the stones glow with a soft red hue. The road lies quietly, like something newly born. The beauty of Roman roads was not only their strength, they were also symbols of order. A road was never just stones. A road was the will of Rome. A road was the promise of connection. At night, the worksite falls silent. Moonlight touches the stones. The new road gleams faintly in the darkness. The gravel, the layers, the paving blocks, all resting quietly. a secret of endurance, a secret of empire. Imagine now, you are walking slowly along this road. Your feet touch the stones, firm beneath you. The surface is hard but calming. The road stretches straight ahead as far as you can see. It does not bend. It does not hesitate. Always forward, always toward the horizon. Your walk is slow, steady. Each step carries you deeper into stillness, closer to sleep. Roman roads were not built only for soldiers. Merchants traveled them. Messengers rode them. Simple travelers walked them. Letters reached from Rome to Britain within days. Goods crossed safely from one town to another. People met because the roads brought them together. And all of it was possible because stones had been placed with patience. Time itself seems to slow down. As your feet touch the stones, the weight of history surrounds you. Yet this weight is not heavy. It is steady, reassuring. For these roads carried humanity for centuries, and now, in this story, they simply carry you toward rest. The road is quiet. Only the wind passes lightly across its surface. Perhaps, far away, the bark of a dog breaks the silence, but the stones remain unmoved. Always steady, always still. Each stone is there to give you peace. This is how the story of the Roman roads began. Silent mornings, heavy stones, patient workers, layer upon layer, slowly, calmly, a path that moves through time but never hurries. And as you walk along this endless road, your eyes begin to close, your thoughts begin to fade. Only the silence of the stones remains. The road stretches on, and time itself seems to follow its lines. Step after step, the path carries you deeper into the Roman world. Each stone is a reminder of patience. Each layer beneath your feet is a whisper of order. The silence of the morning expands into the silence of centuries, and you begin to imagine how these roads multiplied, how they spread across the empire like veins across a body, carrying life, carrying movement, carrying the pulse of Rome itself. The Romans were not content with a single road. Once one was finished, another would begin. One path led to another, one city linked to the next. Soon the land was no longer just open fields and mountains. It was a network, a system, a web of stone lines that reached across thousands of miles. The empire grew, but not chaotically. It grew along these roads, guided by them, shaped by them. The most famous of them all was the Via Appia. They called it the Regina Viarum, the Queen of Roads. It began in Rome itself and stretched far to the southeast, reaching toward Brindisi by the sea. Imagine its beginning. Workers carving through the hills outside the city, stones laid with the same patient method, step by step. When it was finished, the Via Appia was more than 200 miles long, straight and sure. Travelers set out upon it, soldiers marched, carts creaked slowly over its stones. The road became not just a path, but a symbol. It was Rome, extended outward, touching distant lands. Picture a traveler walking along it. Perhaps he is a merchant carrying baskets of wine or amphora of oil. His steps echo against the paving stones, his donkey plods steadily beside him. The road is wide enough for carts to pass each other, wide enough for an army column to march without breaking stride, and yet, despite all the movement, the road itself remains silent, unchanging. Stones do not hurry, stones do not tire, they only endure. As night falls, the road does not vanish. Moonlight glows on its surface, showing the way as clearly as day. Stars spread above while the stones lie beneath, firm and calm. The merchant rests beside the road, leaning against a milestone. These markers, carved with Roman numbers, told every traveler how far they had gone, how far remained. Mile after mile, the stones whispered the distances, but in a voice so steady, so quiet, that no one ever felt lost. Now think of the soldiers. Entire legions marched along these paths, sandals striking against the surface, shields glinting in the sun, banners fluttering in the wind, but even their discipline could not outlast the patience of the roads. Armies rose and fell, but the stones remained. Long after the soldiers were gone, The paving blocks still stretched across the land, unmoved, unbroken. Everywhere the roads went, they brought more than soldiers. They carried messages. A letter could travel from Rome to distant provinces in days, not weeks. A command from an emperor could reach the frontier, carried by a courier riding tirelessly, changing horses at stations built along the way. These relay posts, mensuins, were quiet places where food, rest, and fresh animals were ready, and so the road became not only a path, but a heartbeat, quickening the empire, connecting its farthest edges. Close your eyes and imagine a rider moving through the night, hooves strike against the road, a steady rhythm. In the darkness, the sound is like a lullaby. The rider does not fear the journey, for the road is clear, straight, trustworthy. He leans forward, the horse carries him onward, the milestones flicker past in the moonlight. Time itself seems to slip away until only the sound of the stones remains. And yet, beyond the movement of people and goods, there was something even more powerful in the roads. They changed the way the land itself felt. Villages that once seemed isolated became connected. Markets grew, for traders could arrive with ease. Ideas traveled, carried not only by messengers but by simple travelers speaking with strangers in distant towns. A road was not just a physical path, it was a current of culture, a flow of thought, a river of stories. Now picture the Via Flaminia, running northward from Rome, cutting through the Apennine Mountains. Workers chipped away at the stone cliffs, laying foundations where once there had been wilderness. The road opened valleys that had never before known the steady rhythm of travelers. And in every valley, the same silence would eventually settle, the silence of stones placed with care, the silence of endurance. There were thousands of miles of such roads. To the west, they reached the coasts of Spain. To the north, they touched the misty lands of Gaul and even Britannia, where the damp earth was tamed by layers of stone. To the east, they stretched into Greece, into Asia Minor, into the long paths toward the east. Everywhere, the same method. Everywhere, the same patience. Imagine a vast map before your eyes, not marked with rivers or forests, but with lines of stone. Each line leads to another, and all of them lead back to Rome, the center. From the heart of the city, all roads spread outward like rays of light, and so the saying arose, all roads lead to Rome. Not just a phrase, but a truth. Every traveler, no matter how far, could turn and find a way home. Even today, fragments of those roads remain. Walk along them and you still feel the firmness beneath your feet. 2,000 years have passed, but the stones continue to whisper. They whisper of merchants and soldiers, of emperors and peasants, of letters carried by riders and footsteps fading into silence. They whisper of patience, of time stretched long and thin, of journeys that never hurry but always continue. Now, as you imagine yourself drifting along one of these roads, notice how steady your breathing has become. The rhythm of footsteps matches the rhythm of your breath. The road is long, but there is no need to rush. Every step is the same as the last. The stones do not change. They simply remain, waiting, carrying you forward into stillness. Perhaps you pause at the side of the road, near a quiet bridge. Beneath you, water flows gently, almost without sound. Above you, the sky spreads wide, calm, unbroken. Around you, only the road stretches onward, promising distance, but also peace. You close your eyes for a moment, and in that stillness, the centuries blur. You are no longer in one time or another. You are simply on the road, eternal, unchanging, safe. The Romans built thousands of miles of these paths, yet what mattered most was not the length, not the number, but the feeling. A feeling of being held, of being guided, of being certain of the way. On these roads, you could never truly be lost. The stones themselves told you where to go. And so, as you drift along in thought, the road continues beneath you, endless, calm. Each step grows slower, each thought grows quieter. The silence of the stones surrounds you completely, carrying you deeper and deeper into rest. The road continues, stretching forward into the horizon, and with it the story of daily life unfolds. These roads were not only for soldiers and messengers, they belonged to everyone. Along their length, simple lives were carried, slow and steady, just like the stones beneath them. To walk upon a Roman road was not only to travel, but to enter into a rhythm that lulled both body and mind into calmness. Imagine yourself as an ordinary traveler. Perhaps you are not a soldier, not a merchant, not an official, just a simple man or woman carrying bread, cloth, or small tools to the next village. You walk slowly, your sandals pressing against the even stones. The sound is soft, repeating, almost like the beat of a drum played very far away. Step after step, your journey is neither rushed nor delayed. The road allows you to move with certainty. You know where it begins, you know where it ends. You are guided, not lost. Along these great roads, there were places to rest. Small inns stood at intervals, offering bread, wine, and shelter. These were not places of luxury, but of necessity. A bed of straw, a bowl of soup, a jug of water. Simple things, yet enough for a weary traveler. Picture the dim glow of oil lamps at night, shadows flickering on plastered walls, the low murmur of voices. Outside, the road lies quiet, stones cooling under the moonlight. Inside, weary bodies find rest, as countless before them had done, as countless after them would do. Every 20 or so miles, there were larger stations called mansiones. These were designed for officials, for couriers, for the machinery of empire itself. Fresh horses waited there, food was prepared, records were kept. A courier would arrive at dusk, dust rising from his cloak, hand over a letter, and within moments another rider would depart, carrying the same words further down the road. The speed of thought, carried by flesh and bone, carried by stone beneath hooves. The empire breathed through these stations, but the breath was slow, steady, never frantic. There were also mutationes, smaller waypoints where only animals could be exchanged. Horses drank, donkeys fed, carts repaired. Imagine the smell of hay, the sound of hooves against packed earth, the clink of harness buckles. Simple tasks done again and again, each one a part of the road's long life. Nothing dramatic, nothing hurried, only the quiet rhythm of necessity. Now picture the bridges. Where rivers flowed, the Romans built arches of stone. Their bridges were as firm as their roads, built to last, built to resist both water and time. Walk across one in your mind. Beneath you, the current moves, slow and ceaseless, like time itself. Above you, the arch supports your steps, calm and strong. You stop in the middle, leaning against the stone wall, and listen. Water murmurs, wind drifts, birds pass overhead. Yet always the stones remain, holding you safely. Bridges connected not only land to land, but moment to moment, carrying lives forward, quietly. Milestones, placed carefully along the road, offered another kind of comfort. Every traveler could look at one and know how far they had come. The numbers carved into stone spoke without speaking. They reassured, you are on the right path, you are moving forward. No matter how far you still have to go, each step carries you closer. Think of yourself resting against one now. The stone is cool beneath your back, its markings worn but still legible. You breathe slowly, and time itself seems measured not in hours but in miles. Along the sides of the road, small villages appeared. Farmers carried produce to market. Children played near the edges. Women walked with baskets balanced on their heads. The road was part of their lives, not separate. Every day they saw travelers pass, some in silence, some singing, some weary, some full of laughter. The road did not change for them, yet it shaped everything. Crops could reach towns more quickly, doctors could arrive with remedies, news of births, marriages, or deaths traveled further than before. Life moved slowly but surely along the stones. And still, through all this activity, there was quiet. For even when carts creaked and oxen lowed and footsteps echoed, the road itself remained silent. The stones absorbed the sound, carrying it gently away. It was as if the road whispered to each traveler, move as you must, live as you can, I will remain. Imagine yourself sitting by the roadside at dusk. The sun sinks, shadows grow long, the air cools. You see a line of soldiers in the distance, marching in step. They pass, and silence returns. Then a merchant's cart rattles by, wheels striking against the paving blocks. It too disappears into the evening. A lone traveler follows, footsteps steady, and soon he is gone as well. Finally, there is nothing. Only you, the stones, the soft breath of the wind. The road stretches into twilight, unbroken, eternal. In the stillness, you realize that the road has become more than a physical path. It is a presence, a companion. It asks nothing, it promises nothing, it only endures. The patience of stone is greater than the patience of men. Where men hurry, the road waits. Where men falter, the road holds. Where men forget, the road remembers. Close your eyes now and imagine lying down on the soft grass beside the road. You hear nothing but the faint rustle of wind. You feel the cool earth beneath you, the faint warmth of stones nearby. Above, the sky is deep and starry, stretching endlessly. You breathe slowly, matching the rhythm of the road itself. Long inhale, long exhale. The stones seem to breathe with you, carrying your weariness away, leaving only calm. Through the centuries, countless feet pressed upon these roads. Emperors rode in gilded chariots, slaves walked in chains, pilgrims carried offerings, children played at the edges. Every kind of life touched the stones, and still the roads remained unchanged. They did not judge, they did not prefer, they only carried. The mighty and the humble left the same trace. A passing sound, a fading step. Think now of the stillness at midnight. The inns are quiet, the fires burn low, the travelers sleep. Outside, the road gleams faintly under the moon. Not a soul walks upon it, not a cart creaks, not a horse passes. Yet the road continues, waiting for morning, waiting for footsteps to return. In this moment, the stones are like a lullaby, silent yet comforting, timeless yet gentle. And as you let this vision surround you, you feel yourself sinking deeper into rest. The road, the stations, the bridges, the milestones, all dissolve into a single rhythm. A rhythm of patience, a rhythm of calm, a rhythm of silence. The Roman roads stretching endlessly, not to carry you to a city, not to carry you to a war, but to carry you gently into sleep. The road does not end, and neither does the story. As you walk further along, you begin to notice the hidden care behind every stone. The Romans were not careless in their work. Each road was built not only with strength, but with foresight. The engineers thought of the future, of years and centuries ahead, of rain, of wind, of wear, of time itself pressing down, and so every road was more than stone. It was design, it was patience, it was quiet calculation turned into silence beneath your feet. Imagine the workers once more, bending over the soil. Before a single stone was placed, the ground was measured, surveyed, marked. Roman engineers used simple tools, stropes, rods, chromi, measuring staffs. They aligned lines with the horizon, fixed angles with the stars, judged slopes with their eyes and with patient steps. Nothing was hurried. A straight line was chosen, but not blindly. It was chosen carefully, ensuring that water could flow away, ensuring that the surface would endure, ensuring that the road would not crumble after rain. Water always was the hidden enemy. Left untamed, it would erode the stones, flood the path, weaken the foundation, so the Romans gave thought to every drop. Ditches were dug on either side of the road, shallow but steady, carrying away rain toward the fields. In some places, small culverts were placed, tunnels of stone beneath the surface, allowing streams to pass quietly beneath the road. Imagine them now, trickling softly in the darkness, unseen, unheard, yet protecting the stones above. The surface itself was built with a slight curve, a gentle arch across its width. This crown, invisible to the hurried traveler, allowed rain to slide away, flowing toward the ditches, leaving the central path dry and strong. Even as storms passed, even as clouds poured their weight onto the earth, the road endured. You can almost hear the rain falling, striking against stone, flowing smoothly away, leaving behind only the silence of endurance. The workers themselves moved slowly. Some carried baskets of gravel, others hammered stones into place, others smoothed mortar with wooden tools. Each task was simple, but together they formed a harmony. Step by step, action by action, a road appeared. Not in a day, not in a week, but in patient layers, each one resting upon the other. The rhythm of their labor was like a slow heartbeat, steady, constant, never rushed. When bridges were built, arches were chosen not only for beauty but for strength. The keystone at the center locked the structure in place, each stone leaning gently upon its neighbor. The arch was not a fragile thing, it was the shape of endurance itself, distributing weight, resisting collapse. Imagine walking under such an arch now. Look upward at the stones, each one pressed against the next, forming a curve that has held for centuries. There is silence in that shape, silence in its strength, silence that comforts. The milestones, too, were placed with precision. Every Roman mile, roughly 1,000 paces, another stone was set upright. On its face, letters and numbers were carved, telling travelers their distance from Rome, the heart of all roads. Think of the patience it took to mark every mile across thousands upon thousands of miles, each stone cut, carried, placed. Yet to the traveler it brought certainty, calmness, orientation. In the long silence of a journey, the milestones spoke gently. You are on the path. You are moving forward. Roads in the mountains required still more care. Cuttings were carved into cliffs, walls raised to hold the earth, paths supported by retaining blocks. Sometimes galleries were built, covered ways that shielded the traveler from falling rock. And yet, no matter how dangerous the land, the road remained steady, firm, inviting the traveler to trust. Picture yourself walking along such a mountain road, a wall of stone rising on one side, a view of valleys falling away on the other. The road itself is narrow but safe. Each step is guided, each step is calm. In the lowlands, roads passed across marshes. Here the Romans laid timber piles, driving them into the soft soil, creating a firm base where none had existed. Upon these, stones were placed as carefully as ever, until even swamps became pathways. Think of the patience it required, hammering wood into mud, layer after layer, unseen beneath the surface, all to support the stones above. The traveler who passed never thought of everything. And so the road was more than a surface. It was a hidden world beneath your feet. Layers of gravel, layers of mortar, layers of stone, drainage channels, culverts, piles. The traveler saw only the smooth paving blocks, but beneath them lay the thought of countless minds, the labor of countless hands, the patience of countless hours. A road was not only traveled, it was lived, long before the traveler ever arrived. Now imagine lying down once more at the side of the road. Night falls, the stars shine, and the quiet details of engineering sink into your mind like a lullaby. You picture the ditches, carrying away rainwater in silence. You picture the arch of the road, curving gently, protecting the stones. You picture the hidden tunnels beneath, where water flows unseen. You picture the piles driven into marshy ground, holding everything steady. One by one, these images become softer, blurrier, like thoughts fading into sleep. The genius of Rome was not in haste, but in patience. These roads were built to last, not for a season, not for a decade, but for centuries. And so they did. Even now, in quiet corners of Europe, you can find them. Stones still in place, foundations still firm, drainage still working. 2,000 years, and the work of patient hands still holds. Think of that endurance now. Let it calm you. Let it reassure you. Let it remind you that patience is stronger than time. All roads were planned to connect, to converge, to unify. From every province, the lines led inward, to the center, to Rome. The empire was not only ruled by armies, not only by decrees, it was ruled by order, by the quiet certainty that the path was there, always guiding you forward. To walk upon these roads was to feel part of something larger, something steady, something enduring. And as you continue this quiet journey in your mind, you feel the same certainty. You are guided, you are steady, you are safe. The stones do not end, the silence does not end. Only your footsteps grow softer, slower, until they fade altogether. The road continues without you, but you are already resting, already carried, already at peace. The road continues under your feet, and with it, the countless lives that once passed along its length. Roads are made of stone, but they are also made of footsteps, of voices, of breaths. To understand the Roman roads is to imagine not only their structure, but the people whose days were shaped by them, not heroes, not emperors, but ordinary souls who walked slowly, carrying the weight of daily life. Imagine a merchant setting out at dawn. His cart is loaded with amphorae of olive oil, their clay surfaces cool to the touch, the smell of pressed fruit rising faintly into the air. The wheels creak as they meet the stones, a steady rhythm that does not quicken, does not falter. He guides his donkey, pats its neck, and begins the long journey toward the market. Hour after hour, mile after mile, the road carries him. The weight of his goods is heavy, but the road is firm, never betraying him. He trusts it, as his father did, as his son will. Now picture a pilgrim. She carries nothing but a small bundle and a staff, her steps slow but determined. Perhaps she walks toward a shrine, a sacred grove, or a temple at the edge of the empire. Every night she rests at the side of the road. Every morning she begins again. The road guides her as surely as the stars. She may be alone, but the stones beneath her feet remind her that countless others have walked before, countless others will walk after. She is part of something larger, and so she is never truly alone. Think of families who lived near the road. Children played at its edge, chasing one another with laughter, their bare feet brushing the smooth stones. Mothers called them back, warning them not to wander too far. Farmers led oxen across the path, bringing hay or firewood to nearby villages. For them, the road was not an exotic thing. It was part of daily life, as familiar as the fields, as familiar as the sky. They may not have thought of the empire or of Rome, but the road reminded them that they belonged to a greater whole. And what of the soldiers, not marching now in columns, but moving quietly in small groups or alone? A veteran returning home after years of service, his armor packed away, his steps slower than before. He knows the road well, for he has marched on it many times, but now he walks with a different pace. Each stone reminds him of earlier journeys, of younger days, of voices of comrades now gone. Yet the road offers no judgment, it carries him just the same, steady, silent, patient. At the roadside, travelers often stopped at fountains. Simple stone basins, filled by aqueduct channels, offered water to the weary. Imagine the coolness of that water in your hands, the relief as you drink, the sound of droplets falling back into the basin. Around you, the road continues, but for a moment you rest, refreshed by something so simple, so necessary. Markets grew where roads met. Picture a crossroads filled with stalls, baskets of fruit, jars of honey, bolts of cloth dyed in rich colors. Voices murmur, coins clink, animals shuffle their hooves. Yet the road beneath them all remains the same, calm, unchanging, holding the bustle like a steady heartbeat beneath a rushing stream. Long after the market is gone, the stones will remain, silent once more. At night, travelers gathered around small fires. Bread was shared, stories told, songs sung softly under the stars. Some spoke of distant cities, others of home, others of hopes they carried. The road did not listen, but it held them all. When the fire burned low, when voices faded, when sleep took them one by one, the road remained their companion. The stars above and the stones below, two steady presences holding the fragile thread of human life between them. Even animals knew the road. Horses walked steadily, their hooves striking sparks from the stones. Dogs trotted alongside carts, barking now and then at strangers, but always returning to the rhythm of travel. Birds perched on the milestones, watching silently as travelers passed. The road connected not only people, but the life of the land itself. Sometimes the road was empty, no travelers, no carts, no soldiers. Only the whisper of wind across its surface, only the soft rustle of leaves nearby. In such moments the road seemed almost alive, waiting, patient, knowing that footsteps would return. It had no need to hurry, it had no fear of silence. Time itself was its companion. Now think of yourself once more, walking slowly along. You see these figures in your mind, the merchant, the pilgrim, the farmer, the veteran. They pass by you, each on their own path, each carried by the same stones. Their stories are different, but the road is the same. You are part of that same silence, part of that same continuity. The road carries you as it carried them, without question, without end. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. The cart wheels creak softly, fading. The footsteps of the pilgrim echo gently, then disappear. The laughter of children drifts like a memory, then quiets. One by one, the sounds fade, until only the stones remain, still and silent beneath the stars. And so the Roman roads were not only paths of empire, not only lines of power, they were part of human life itself. They held the ordinary days, the small journeys, the quiet steps of countless souls. They did not glorify, they did not condemn, they simply endured, and in their endurance they gave peace. As you let these images flow through you, your own breathing slows, your own thoughts soften. You feel yourself joining that endless procession, not as a soldier, not as a merchant, not as a pilgrim, but simply as a traveler drifting toward rest. The stones carry you, gently, quietly, steadily. You do not need to reach the end. The road itself is enough. The road continues, but now it stretches not only into the Roman world, but into centuries beyond. Empires rise and fall, voices grow loud and then fade, wars shake the land and then are forgotten, yet through it all, the stones remain. The roads built with such patience, such care, endure beyond those who made them, beyond those who walked them. They are not hurried by time, they are not broken by history, they simply remain silent witnesses to all that passes. Imagine the centuries drifting past like clouds across the sky. First, the Roman legions march in step, their shields gleaming, their sandals striking the stones. Then the merchants follow, carts heavy with wine, oil, and grain. Then the pilgrims, carrying prayers and offerings. But as the empire weakens, the soldiers vanish. The carts are fewer, the voices grow quiet. Towns crumble, villages shrink, yet the roads remain, stretching across the land, as straight and as silent as ever. In the Middle Ages, travelers still find them. Some parts are overgrown with grass, others broken by roots and weeds, but the stones beneath are still there. Peasants guide their animals along them, monks walk with bowed heads, knights ride swiftly on horses. They do not think of Rome, they think only of their journey, but unknowingly they walk upon the work of hands long gone, the labor of a world that no longer exists. The roads do not remind them, they do not boast. They only carry, quietly, as they always did. Storms come, rains fall, winters freeze the stones, summers bake them. Still the roads endure, the drainage ditches still guide away water, the crowns still shed the rain, the foundations still hold. 1,000 years pass, and the stones remain patient. They are not in a hurry to disappear. They are not eager to be remembered. They simply are. Now imagine a traveler in more recent times, perhaps a scholar in the Renaissance, rediscovering the past. He walks along the remnants of the Via Appia, running his hand across the worn paving stones. He feels the grooves carved by wheels centuries before, and he whispers to himself of Rome, of empire, of endurance. The road is no longer full of soldiers or merchants, but it still speaks, though only in silence. It tells of patience, of strength, of order. Even today, fragments of those roads remain. Tourists walk upon them, cameras in hand, unaware of the centuries beneath their feet. Children run along them, laughing, just as children did 2,000 years ago. Cars pass nearby, modern roads built upon the same lines once chosen by Roman engineers. The world has changed, but the pattern remains. The lines of stone still guide us, still shape our journeys. The saying is still true, all roads lead to Rome. Now think of yourself. walking once more along such a road. Perhaps it is cracked, perhaps it is broken in places, perhaps grass grows between the stones. Yet beneath it all, the structure remains, the statumen, the rudis, the nucleus, the summum dorsum, all still holding, all still carrying. Each step you take is a step upon patience itself, upon endurance itself. The road does not ask you to hurry. It does not care how far you go. It does not mind if you stop, if you rest, if you sleep. The road is not a command. It is a presence. It will be here when you wake, as it has been for 2,000 years, as it will be for 2,000 more. Close your eyes now and imagine lying once more beside the road. The stars spread above you, the stones lie firm beneath you, the wind moves softly across the grass. You think of all the lives that have passed here. Soldiers, merchants, pilgrims, children, peasants, scholars. Each one left only footsteps. Each one faded. But the road remained, patient, silent, calm. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts grow faint. The road stretches into the horizon, but you no longer need to follow it. You can rest now, for the road is enough. It has carried you far, through centuries, through silence, through history itself. You have seen its stones placed, layer upon layer. You have walked with the travelers of the empire. You have listened to the voices that faded into the night. You have felt the strength of arches, the calm of milestones, the patience of foundations. And now, you can simply let go. The stones remain, the silence remains, the road continues without end. And you, carried by its stillness, drift quietly into sleep.